Okay, recap of Jenny's question.
Jenny asked a question.
Yes, so Jenny wanted to know that does winter have any correlation to how your summer is?
So basically, no, although this one's interesting because Dr. Doug is the brains with the forecast team behind the forecast. When we're looking at the summer, we always talk about, in any seasonal forecast, El Nino or La Nina, because the Pacific Ocean is the driver. It's the engine that drives the overall global weather patterns. So for this summer, we have a weakening El Nino. Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Is it the Pacific? Because
Why
it's the biggest ocean?
Because it covers half of the world.
Okay.
I mean, when
Somebody was going to ask that.
It's like if you have the best. We should have like a little Nerf ball with the map of the world. 'Cause it's when you roll it and then you point. I play this game actually, so I play this game with kids. What you can do with a little globe is you roll it and then just stop it randomly. And almost half the time you hit the Pacific Ocean. It's a really good way of understanding how vast the Pacific Ocean is. So because it's that vast, when you change the temperature of a big stretch down by the equator by 1 or 2 or maybe 3 degrees, you don't notice that in your bathtub so much, but when you do that across half the planet, it changes the way the air above it acts. It changes the heat and moisture just above the ocean. That in turn changes the way the clouds behave and where clouds and storms set up, which changes the jet stream. So that's the whole reason we talk about El Nino or La Nina and whether it's kind of this or like that. So last winter was El Nino. We're transitioning out of that. Doesn't mean a lot for our summer forecast, but for the winter, it looks like we're going into La Nina, which would be a big deal because that says certain things about what we can expect. It's a bit early to say for sure, but the trend right now is probably a harsher winter than what we had last year, and maybe even hitting some of the big Canadian cities. So you have to stay tuned for that one, but right now...
We don't want to talk about that right now, Chris. I don't...
Well, let's relish summer while we have it.
Yeah, it's
short
only a few
enough.
months. Come on. Okay. Thank you for that. I have 5 questions for you now, too. You're not getting off the hook on this one.
Come on, this will be fun.
And, yeah, I'm not trying to trick anybody here. Okay, so for Mr. Chris St. Clair, first of all... Music. Let's start with some music, because I know you're a music man.
Okay.
Boys of Summer or Sitting on the Dock of the Bay?
Boys of Summer.
Okay. Perfect July afternoon in Chris St. Clair's world?
Well, that would be a sunny day that you could golf on and enjoy cold beer after.
Okay, 18 or 9 holes?
9.
That was just a bonus question, that one.
Should be 10, but 9.
Plane or boat? I know you do both, right?
Yes.
Yes.
In the summer, a boat. In the winter, a plane.
Okay, interesting. You reported from Fort Mac. Take away from that experience.
The human experience. I mean, how generous people are. I mean, people will say in any disaster, people are generous, but by and large, there was not a soul I met who wasn't giving. And even the people who had nothing to give were giving. So it was the generosity of people and the kindness of one person to a total stranger that was across the board. Everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
and it went across the country as well.
Yeah, it did.
So
It was
nice.
everybody was included in that, and I think it made people feel really good to give.
Good. Yeah, that's a good takeaway. You've been outside in all kinds of weather, reporting live, whether you wanted to or not. Okay, which would you rather be standing in? A blizzard or a hurricane?
For how long?
I'm giving you. Okay, I'm giving you, a couple of hours of reporting, so you can go back in the truck every now and again.
I like a hurricane. I think they're neat, but my preference in working here is a winter storm.
Okay, as long as you've got the right gear on.
Yeah.
All right. I think a lot of people might prefer a winter storm, but
I find them big and lumbering, and they take a long time. And in Canada, they're kind of not. What are we talking about?
I don't know. That's the story. Yeah, let's stop with the winter. Let's talk about all the great things we have on our website for summer, and not just the temperature, but we've got all kinds of added ingredients for what you can get here at the Weather Network.
So you go to your homepage.
Yeah.
Hit the and there's a little menu bar right there.
Yeah, there it is.
You just hit the menu bar.
Yeah.
Go to forecasts and reports. And then, what are you looking for? Oh, wait a minute. 7-day, hourly, long-term, blah, blah, blah. Lifestyle, golf, look, for me, perfect.
Hey,
but
July.
there's like UV. Which one do you want me to touch?
Try pollen.
Pollen?
Yeah.
Watch this.
A lot of people are... do we have sound effects for that? Okay.
Yeah, we do.
All right, that's kind of neat. So there's our pollen forecast, and if you suffer from allergies, this is exactly what you need from our website, not just the temperature.
Not only that, who knew there was so much mulberry in Mississauga, huh? Did you see that? Forecasts and reports. Yep. See, and even an old person can do this. Can you fix that for me?
Or, all right, come on.
There we go. Oh.
All right.
Now what? Can I touch another one?
Yes. What would you like? Oh, do you want me to pick it? How about the UV? Because,
UV. Okay. Everybody's concerned about
yeah.
You know, and as we mentioned in the summer forecast, you do need to get some sun.
Yes, sun is important. Just don't overdo it.
Right.
All right. So here we are looking at the UV report. Of course, it's low right now because it's nighttime, but during the day tomorrow, I suspect it's going to be high, and anything above 6 is considered high. So high to very high, and that means you can burn rather quickly.
And the temperature has absolutely no bearing on the UV index.
Right.
The clarity of the sky has the bearing on the UV index.
And the angle of the sun?
That is correct. Mm-hmm. You have learned well.
Thank you. I've learned from this man. All right. We have a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So Maria on Twitter, she would like to know, how do we determine the feels like when we talk about temperatures
that's
in the summertime?
That's a Chris Scott answer there.
Yeah,
That's a
let's
Chris
call
Scott.
him in.
Feels like it's a measure of the temperature, but the relative humidity, the humidex.
So the feels like I could give you the exact specifics of the algorithm we use. I'll just kind of broad brush it. Below 18, we use the wind chill, and above 18, we use the humidex. So above 18, we're factoring in the moisture, because generally the more juice there is in the air, the sweatier you feel, and it just feels hot. And then when it's cooler than 18, when there's a bit of a wind, you feel cooler, because it's stripping away the heat from your body.
And humidex works because when the air is moist, it's got lots of moisture, and we stay cool by perspiring. And when the sweat evaporates, we feel a cool sensation. But when the air is already full of moisture, that can't happen. So then we feel.
And the humidex, it's interesting because the humidex is different than the heat index in the U.S. So technically, when you cross the border, if you're in, Fort Erie and you go over to Buffalo, you feel cooler. Well, you don't really feel cooler. It's an index. It just goes to show you that feels like is relative. Everyone feels heat differently, so you're just trying to get at the general idea. Does it feel warmer or cooler? But frankly, it matters more if you're in the sun versus not in the sun. Because the temperature is measured in the shade. And this time of the year especially, people think it's a lot hotter than it is. Because if you're in the sun and there's no wind, it's, oh my gosh, it's 30 degrees. It's actually 23. So feels like one of those that most meteorologists do not like feels like.
Next question.
Another question from Andrew Page in Niagara. Will this be a summer of green grass or burnt grass?
Oh, that's a good question. How much precipitation?
Depends on where you live. He's in Niagara.
Yes.
Yes.
Probably depends what part of Niagara too. Now we can't pin that down, but the idea here overall is that we've got near normal precipitation. So when we showed that map just about half an hour ago, we were near normal across most of southern Ontario. But what Dr. Doug and the team have been looking at is an area across the Midwest U.S. extending towards the 49th near Manitoba and Saskatchewan that may be below normal. And we know how weather works on a seasonal basis. It's not defined perfectly. It's a sketch. So if that area moves a bit to the north, we may trend below normal for precipitation. But in the summer, it's always about thunderstorms. It's always about locally where storms set up. And we saw it 2 years ago in Burlington. I mean, part of Burlington flooded with 200 millimeters of rain, and the other part was dry with brown grass. So, there's an overall pattern that says near normal, maybe a bit below, but then it's going to come down to, hey, what orchards get what on a given day?
Last question maybe before
Sure.
we wrap it up. What's on your summer bucket list?
Kim?
Well, this one is pretty much on my summer bucket list every year. I try to get away to a cottage. I don't actually own one, but we like to rent one. We get invited to one, and I just like to spend a week in the outdoors, no real technology, spending time with the family, and enjoying the wilderness and the good weather, hopefully.
Chris?
Mine is to see a tornado in Saskatchewan.
See, that's different from mine. You know what?
Cottage.
That's
Come on.
interesting, because we're not going together, but it's the only province I've never been in, and so that's where I'd like to go.
You've never been to
The
Saskatchewan?
only one. A
That's-
rectangular
Road trip.
shape. So maybe we will have to
There's
go.
going to be a go.
I'll
And
join
chase
you
one down.
after
Okay,
the cottage.
we're going to start a GoFundMe to send Chris St. Clair to Saskatchewan. This is a national shame.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, we've got to get you there.
The only one?
Yeah, great.
Okay.
All right.
Listen, this has been terrific. We appreciate that you sent your questions. We appreciate that you joined us for the Aftercast. We're sorry for a little technical glitch we had in the middle. Copies will be for sale on Chris's website of this. But anyway, thank you. And if you missed any of the summer forecast, it will repeat on the Weather Network on television, and we really appreciate that you connect with us on an ongoing basis. Thanks.
Yeah. And don't forget to tune in to the Weather Network all summer long for up-to-date weather information.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.